Welcome to the Land Your Bet Sports Betting Podcast. We're getting right into Tuesday's slate here on January the 2nd. In the NBA, we've got 6 games to look at. Let's look quickly, obviously, at how we did on Monday. Still up 0.5 units, only went 2-2. The Jaime Jaquez bet failed after Kawhi ended up playing, and he ended up getting 12 shots. Some dude who I've never heard of named Jamal Cain on the Heat went ahead and got a bunch of shots, 12 of them. Took away from Jaime. They only scored 104 points, got beat down. Also, the Kawhi presence in that game was screwed us because it became not a game. The Heat couldn't hang with the Clippers at that point. Dean Wade, we won't be going back to him. I was worried about the minutes. We only put half a unit on it so we could still stay up money because Dame we were really sure about. So I got 1.35 units on Dame to get us a full unit. And Jakob Poeltl is a great bet against the Cavs. That was a way mispriced line for his points and rebounds as he got 25 and continues to get minutes and points and rebounds against those Cavs. So we'll keep going back to the well there. 2-2 on the day, but we went up half a unit. I have 5 bets for you today, so we're going to go up money no matter what for sure. On the season, 86 and 69, nice. 7.4 units total and 14.2 on the Playa props. All 5 of these bets today are Playa props. We did win. We are on a winning streak right now. I guess you can't call one win a streak, but we won our last one in terms of a total, which we bet on Sunday there. Got a team total for the OKC Thunder. But more importantly, we are going to be looking at some winning bets here for Tuesday. Let's start with Chris Paul. Under 9.5 assists. And when I bet this at 1.4 units, it was still minus 140 on MGM. It's still minus 140 on MGM, so you can still get 9.5. However, most of his props are now down to 8.5 because 9.5 was stupid. It was astronomical. And so that's why we are going to see a bit better money if you take under 8.5, which I also like, to be honest. I think 8 is his ceiling for assists in this game. And we'll look at why right now. They're playing Orlando. I kind of like Orlando to cover 3.5. It's a lean I have. I haven't bet it yet. I'm not putting it in this video in any way other than to say it right now to you. If you want to look at that, I think 3.5 is too much. It did get bet down from 4.5. So some people agreed, obviously. But Orlando, more specific to Paul, limits point guards to the 3rd fewest assists per game and teams to the fewest assists per game in the league. And you see here, I wrote they allow them to the fewest assists and the 7th most free throws because we do love to look at free throws when we look at assists and go, well, if the team fouls a lot, they're not giving up a lot of assists because you don't get assists for going to shoot and shooting 2 free throws. Obviously, the and 1 is always there, but that's a huge part of it. When they foul a lot and they send teams to the foul line, then there's no assists. So that's a part of why they limit assists. The other part is they're one of the best defensive teams in the league, predominantly at home, but they've been good enough on the road, especially as of late, and against a Warriors offense that's been bad, frankly. It scored a few more points and played a bit faster than it did when Draymond was in because you're seeing athletes in there like Kuminga and company, but that's exactly where Orlando is best at defense, is guarding forwards and people who want to come into the paint. Obviously, that's in part because they're willing to foul, but it's also because they are obviously very long and athletic at most positions. When you have 6'10" Franz Wagner at shooting guard, that's going to be the case. But more, for Chris Paul as well, just as importantly, without Draymond, 12 potential assists and 7 assists per game. And that's like about average. You would usually put the potential assists, the assists at around 50-ish%. Depending on how good the team is, maybe 55% of the potential assists. So 7 assists to 12, a little bit over 50%. That makes sense. Not awesome, but it's good. The thing is like it's not enough with this offense and this lack of dynamicism, a lack of options in terms of shooters now, considering Clay's struggling to get his own shot off and has been all season. There's not as many guys to finish these assists for Chris Paul anymore. Even the cutters and the slashers, like I said, that's where Orlando is best at defending, is if you want to cut to the lane, or if you're driving as a ball handler. Orlando is very good defense at collapsing down low and not giving up any of the points in the paint, etc. So Chris Paul has gone under in 4 of his last 5. He's going to continue to struggle with Jalen Suggs and Gary Harris playing a lot out there. When Cole Anthony's out there, it's a great matchup for him. I don't know if there's in the second unit and it's between Cole Anthony and Gary Harris or whatever, you're going to see Gary Harris on Chris Paul if Steph's off the floor. So this is going to be a bad matchup for him. We'll go under 9.5. And like I said, playable to under 8.5 if that's the only book, if that's the only thing that your book is offering. Weirdly, we're going into another under in the same game with a similar prop, which is under Steph Curry, 9.5 rebounds and assists. You can still get that at minus 120 on PointsBet for a full unit. Some places are dropping it down to 8.5 because people are betting the under on this. And 8.5 scares me, but 9.5 I'm taking. I didn't put the 1.2 on it. I kind of wish I had, but I only put the 1 unit on it and was like, that's fine. We'll take the slight drawback in money and lose the VIG, obviously. But for Steph here, the rebounds and assists are not something that I would expect in this matchup. This is a matchup where Steph could go off, because if there's one place that the Magic are vulnerable, it's against shooting point guards who can score off of the dribble, and Steph can score off of anything, and he can shoot off the dribble or blindfolded or backwards. It doesn't matter. But when he is, if he is going to make threes, then he could score very easily, and I don't want any part of having to take an under with his points. We're strictly just going with the rebounds and assists, like I said. So the rebounds and assists without Draymond, under in 8 of his last 10. And to be fair to the points, if you wanted to go under there, he does go under. He's only gotten 25 a game since Day Draymond, which his nickname's Day. Since Draymond has been out for the last 10 games, and Phoenix was the 10th game ago, but he obviously left early in that one. 7.5 potential assists and 4.5 assists per game, and only gone over twice. 7.5 potential 0.2 potential rebounds or rebound chances, and 3 rebounds. And the rebounds are a huge bet here. It's my favorite part of this bet is if you want to take under 4.5 boards. I'm also good with that. I threw the assist in there because he hasn't been doing that nearly as much in the potential ones. It's not like the volume is there for the assist to get 5. So that's why I like the under for both these bets. But with the rebounds, a part of this is he's not going into the lane as much. So real quick, the Warriors are a team that I've been covering since 2017. So I've been watching the transition from the way they used to play to how they play now. And the way they used to play was the lane was open for guys like Steph. If Steph was in a one-on-one matchup, it was like, go. The offense option number 1 is always Steph, do what you want, figure out a way to score from 3 or drive into the lane. That lane was available. It's not available anymore, right? There weren't slashers and cutters on the team back in the day, even though you know Harrison Barnes is standing in the corner right now. Jonathan Kuminga is not standing in the corner. He's getting some catch and shoot threes, but he's getting a lot of catch and drive, or cut to the basket and catch and then go up without even dribbling. As a result, Steph's not able to get into the lane as much. As a result, Steph's not there to rebound as much, right? I do think he's going to be shooting a lot, which takes away from the rebounds and assists as well. And that's where Orlando's going to be funneling things. They allow the fewest assists per game in the NBA and the 3rd fewest to point guards, but they do allow points to point guards at times. You've seen plenty of guys go off, but they are shooting point guards off the dribble like a Luka and Kyrie and those types of guys. So under rebounds and assists for him, I'm not going 8.5 if that's the only thing you can play. Sorry, but I just like under 10 for him here. Love this bet. 28.5 points. This has already gotten bet down. I hit it at 29.5, but I'm not going to give that to you because it's really not available anymore. I don't think there's any books that I've seen where you can get 29.5 points for DeAaron Fox. Search it though. If you have the availability to you, right? If you can find a book that is available to you, because you can bet it or someone you know can bet it, then go ahead and take under 29 for sure. But 28.5 is still great because you can get minus 110 on MGM. You're not going to get that good a juice if you're taking 29.5 anywhere, I promise. But we'll go with the full unit for the 28.5. If you do take 29.5 and it's like minus 130, for instance, then I would put 1.3 units down to get it to an even money because I really love this bet against the Charlotte Hornets. Why do I like De'Aaron Fox to not score 30 or 29 even against one of the worst teams in the league? Because it's not going to be a close game. This is a back-to-back for Charlotte. They've lost 11 in a row. They are dying on the vine as we just watch it happen, right? Like Terry missed the other game. Terry Rozier missed last night. Might play against the Kings here after missing against Denver. Still not worried about it. Like that's going to keep them in the game. Maybe that allows there to be a bit more points, but nothing really going to happen in terms of keeping this game close, in my opinion, for the Hornets here. So like the assists are a bit more likely. The Hornets give up a ton of assists and a ton of assists to field goal, right? Like, so a large percentage of their opponents' points are coming off of assists because they don't switch well. They don't talk well on defense. They don't really do anything well, man. I don't want to spend too much time on this. I would be surprised if De'Aaron Fox needs to play much of any of the fourth quarter in this game. So let's just take him to get under 30. There's no reason to do this. There's no like ulterior motive here where like he has some revenge against the Hornets, or he doesn't like somebody on Charlotte or whatever, right? Like we've seen guys like Steph get 30 against poo-poo teams like the Wizards because he wanted to show up Jordan Poole, and he got his 30 points and then he got the hell out of the game because they blew him out in the end. It's not going to be like that here. De'Aaron Fox doesn't have any reason to come in and get 29 or 30 and dip. So let's just take him under and move on to a really fun game, which has our last two bets. First one is Jaylen Brown over 22.5 points. I really love this bet for him. I didn't really know what it was going to be at. I thought it might be closer to 24.5 before I saw it, and that's what my projection said. So love when my projection is higher than the bet that we get when we get to the over here. So 22.5 points. We'll take the over for him. Minus 113 on FanDuel is the best number I have. And 1 unit was what I got in on that. So for JB against this team, his last 3, he's averaging 27, going over this number each time, a 30% usage rate. And part of that is the transition points for him. There's going to be a lot of transition possessions because not a lot of teams want to run with OKC. They do prefer to slow it down and not get into this back and forth with the Thunder, who are one of the 2-ish best fast break and transition teams in the league, right? Them and the Pacers. And like basically this is a team that can run with them. It's awesome to watch. I want to call it a finals preview. That's why I'm chuckling to myself because I'm like, do I say that? Yeah, I say that. This is totally a finals preview. Or could be like it's a legitimate potential finals preview. We'll see how the Thunder do against the Nuggets in the playoffs. But either way, both teams are going to be hyped. All the stars are going to be coming out for this one between Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, SGA, which I'll talk about in a minute. But for Brown here, he's the dude who gets out in transition the most. And so because the Celtics can actually run with the Thunder, unlike most teams in the league, this is the dude who's going to be doing it. He has the most transition points per game in the league of any player. He's doing it at about 30% of the possessions that he's in there for. He's out in transition. He's running and gunning, whether it's a made basket or it's not. Jaylen Brown, rather, so annoying. JB is consistently trying to get out into the transition and fast break. So he's going to have those points available to him. He's going to have second chance points available to him as a dude who's going to be crashing these boards. He and Jason Tatum. Like I kind of wanted to take under Tatum rebounds at first, but that was some newbie stuff because it was really strictly based on him not doing it as of late with the 5-man lineup that is the best in the league on the Celtics right now, which has been intact for really the last like 7 games. And he hasn't been getting 9 boards for Jason Tatum. But this is a game where he and Jaylen Brown are going to be crashing the glass. On offense, they're going to be going, well, they should be. And if I know Jaylen Brown is, and Jason Tatum should be. So that's why I'm staying away from unders for him in any way. Plus, this game is easily going to get to 240. It should. So I'm also not looking to get cute with unders in this game. But Jaylen Brown to score because of the volume, he's gone over this number a ton lately. I believe 7 in a row, as well as like 8 of his last 10. So he's doing this with the volume and the field goal attempts. He's shooting well for sure, but it's not like really crazy high, his shooting splits. He's still shooting it as well as he normally would. I think he's going to get some 3-point looks in this one as well, plus the offensive boards, plus the fast break points. Like you give him 7 fast break points and let's say 3 threes, and we're feeling really, really good about his ability to, like I said, add a few offensive rebound and second chance points. And on the road too, like he and Tatum have really high usage rates on the road. Obviously, 4 of his last 5 roadies, he's gone over this number. So we'll continue to ride the Jaylen Brown points train. And then we'll finish things off here with Shai Gilgeous. And this is one that Nate brought to me on Coast to Coast. And I looked into it and I like it. I do. I think it's a pretty nice play because you get plus 103 on FanDuel. I'm going 0.7 units because I've got a lot out there, as you probably saw from these last 4 bets. And it's 30 points, 4 rebounds, and 4 assists for Shai Gilgeous in this game against the Celtics. Really fun game. I would highly recommend watching this one. I will be. 4 assists and 4 rebounds. He's done that in 17 straight home games. And he's also done it in 11 straight games. So it's something that he does wherever he plays, but especially at home, he's definitely crashing the glass, getting more than 6 boards and around 7 assists, like 5.5 boards and 6.5 assists, we'll call it, in his last 11 games overall. And in his last 17 home games, those are his numbers as well. In Boston, like I'm also looking at the narrative that Nate loves narratives, and I'm with it on this one, which is like he's going to try against a good team. This is going to have a playoff atmosphere to it. Shai and OKC are bringing it against good teams because they're trying to make a statement that they're here. Now, look, this is the regular season. I don't know how much stock you want to put in it. Plenty. I mean, you can put stock in it to use it as saying they're a legit title contender because I believe it. However, once we get to the playoffs, it's a different beast. We haven't seen them win a playoff series, so it's tough to talk about the championship stuff. But in the regular season, with a championship atmosphere, hell yeah, Shai to get 30 points and Shai to get the boards and assists. He's going to have the ball in his hands. This is a backcourt that is incredible on defense for the Celtics. Don't get me wrong, but his last 2 versus Boston, and that was also versus obviously Marcus Smart and Derek White more than Drew Holiday, but 34 points per game and a 33% usage rate. And recently, just dude's been nuts, right? Against Brooklyn on New Year's Eve, we'll call it. yeah, it was a weird, sleepy, dumb game, and they played a lot of backups. And Shai definitely was just like, let me get these points when I need to make sure that we are, extending the lead enough to win this game and keep the Nets at bay, who the Nets are just backsliding into trash. But 24 points in that game, fine. The 7 games before that Brooklyn sleepy game, 34 a game, and just 33 minutes because there's a couple blowouts in there, which this is not going to be. So considering this game should be a nice, fun one in the fourth quarter, Shai's going to be out there for 36 to 38 minutes. You got to book that. And in his last 4 versus contenders, that's been the case. 36 points per game against really good teams that are contenders like the Celtics are, with the high usage rate and just decent amount of minutes, 35 minutes or so, slightly up from the 34 or 33 minutes that he's had as of late, right? So everything is just like a little bit of an uptick for him. It's 33, I think, and a half points, 32 and a half in some places for his points, but we'll just take the points with the rebounds and assists and get even money with that little mini same game parlay for Shai and put the 0.7 units on it to get back 0.7. So quick summary of what we're doing here on Tuesday. Chris Paul, under 9.5 assists, would play to under 8.5 assists. Steph Curry, under 9.5 rebounds and assists, would not take the 8.5 under. If you can't get 9.5, sorry that you're missing out on that one. D Fox, you can get under 29.5. That should say points. Sorry, it says rebounds and assists. DeAaron Fox, under 29.5, it's available. Most likely under 28.5 points for DeAaron Fox. Sorry for the confusion there. Jaylen Brown, over 22.5 points. I like that. If there's like ladder possibilities there, the problem is like you got to probably take it at 30. And I think like 26, 27 points is what we're looking at for Jaylen Brown here. So if you want a 25-point ladder, that at least gets you some plus money. And then SGA gets you plus money if you take 30 points, 4 rebounds, plus 4 assists in a little same game parlay for him. I put down 0.7 units on that one. And that is all the time that I have for you guys today. I appreciate you all following along. Got this out, decent time, hopefully for you to be able to watch and get these picks down. I'm going to have 2 of these unders on social media. So follow along there, land your bets on Twitter, or I'm sorry, YouTube already watching, Instagram Reels, as well as TikTok, Twitter, all the like. Putting out a couple like of my favorite bets each day. We're 13-3 on these under bets. It's the favorite unders that I'm putting out there. So subscribe to here if you're not already. I really appreciate that. We're bringing you these videos each and every day, man. We haven't missed one now in about 9 to 10 days, even over the holidays, because there's so much NBA. I got to keep it going with you. We're doing really well. Like I said, up about, let me get back to it real quick, up 14.2 units there, you can see on the player props. So we're going to keep them up right here with these 5. And until I see you next, happy betting.